we're too focused on the wrong things, man. We're too focused on the wrong things. Honestly, founders, entrepreneurs, business owners, you spend too much time focusing on the metrics that don't really matter. The metrics that's not really going to improve your sales, improve your prospects, all those sort of things that you should be focusing on, and you're focusing on vanity metrics. What makes it even worse is that you're so consumed with the thought process of not hitting certain numbers that you want to get that it's stopping you from even doing the thing in the first place. Let me share my screen real quick. I came across an interesting short that I wanted to share with you all. Let me share my screen. One sec. Let me press play.
There are what we call vanity metrics. Stuff's happening, people are engaging, but they don't contribute to your bottom line at the end of the day in terms of your sale and what you're trying to achieve here. For example, if you have created a page on, say, Facebook, if we're going to go that route, and people like the page, so you've got 1,000 likes within a week, none of those people engage with the content, and none of them click through the website, and none of them end up buying what you're selling. It's still just a vanity metric. There are what we call vanity metrics.
Vanity metrics. And you know what? I'm not going to lie. Before I sort of wanted to be more intentional with the content I started putting out and, making those intentional connections as well, is that I was scared to put content out because I just didn't want it to not do well. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate that. We all come from a place of us wanting to push content out and wanting to do what it needs to do to be more visible. But the thought process of not hitting those numbers that you believe allow you to become more visible stops you from doing a lot of things. It actually stops you from just getting started. And what I found is I spent so much time thinking about the views that I'm not going to get. I wasn't focusing on the views that I will get. And we all got to start from somewhere. So I would say, do not let the fear of not hitting certain numbers in the early stages of your journey, your business journey, your personal branding journey, don't let it stop you from creating the content, because it is through effort, it is through dedication and consistency that will allow people to understand who you are, who you serve, and why you are the obvious choice for this particular industry or the niche that you're in as well. When I started putting out content, it all started with my thought process was, what can I commit to every week for a year at the bare minimum? What is it that I can do that will allow me to get the reps in, build a level of confidence in a skill in order to establish that where I can continue going and going and going and continuing to push out content. And for me, that was writing. I've been writing for a very long time. It all started initially with me running a music blog. I ran a music blog and it was doing amazingly well. I was getting opportunities to cover events. I was covering different sort of shows, concerts. I was interviewing different artists as well. It was amazing. So the whole element of being able to write and the love for writing always stemmed from that. So when it came down to me thinking about what is it that I can actually say to myself, hand on heart, that I can commit to and put content out once a week for a year. And that for me was writing. And as I was doing it, I wasn't necessarily thinking about the people that was going to read it, because let's be real, not many people are reading long form content. And I completely understand that and I appreciate that. And that's why I'm doing this content now, to let you know that I can also, do the video thing as well. But I say that to say that you need to have a thing that you can dedicate every week to doing, whatever that looks like, whatever your skill is, whatever. And it doesn't even just have to be your skill, but it needs to be something that you're comfortable to do. The process of developing this sort of content is not for the faint-hearted. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of commitment, but It needs to be something that you are skilled in, that you enjoy doing, and you are very much looking forward to improving and getting better over time. And with all that in mind, we all need to start from somewhere. The metrics that you see from now, the metrics, the views that I'm getting, I'm not pressed. I'm not pressed about these views because, firstly, I just got started with putting out this content on a regular basis. There's so much more content to put out. There's so much more to do. My main focus is ensuring that I'm able to commit to what I said, posting content every single Friday on YouTube, because later down the line, this is what you want to do. You want to start building content on a weekly basis, whatever it is, start doing it as fast as possible. The more content that you have, the more you are able to now utilize it and look and understand the metrics, and you're able to understand the data. And once you understand the data and you know what's working from what's not working and what you can do to improve, and you're able to trial different things to be able to understand what your audience likes, that is when you start to see an increase and the momentum in terms of your views and your engagement and all those sort of things that generate that particular amount. But you need to start with that. Without starting, you're not going to get nowhere. I'm telling you that if that's not a gem, then I don't know what is. And if you're watching this and you know there's something that you need to be committing to doing every single week, if you're watching this and you know exactly what you need to do, you need to go and do it. No joke. Personal brand. We need to have that ready for November 2027. Every video you're going to hear me say, you're going to get sick and tired of me saying it. But if you're not doing the thing that you know you need to be doing, I will be there to remind you. And that's the reason why you subscribe, because you know that I want to remind you. We do not have time to waste. But I say all this to say that don't let fear get in the way of you putting the content out and giving it a good go. As I mentioned before, it was fear that stopped me from doing many things. And the older I'm getting, the wiser I'm getting, the more fearless I'm getting in my approach, the more I'm genuinely enjoying who I'm becoming and what I'm able to do, and not having to be second thinking these things, because I started from somewhere. I started from a place of not having that level of confidence, or not having that level of, insight into what it really meant to do the thing I wanted to do. But over time, with repetition, with time, with consistency, I'm able to improve and get better and put out more content. And by no means am I saying that the content that I'm putting out is going to be a hit every single time. Some weeks it may not be the one. Some weeks I may not have the energy to be wanting to do it, or I may be a bit like, I don't know, feeling like what's the point? But we all have those moments. We're all human beings. We're always going to be thinking about the times when it's not working more than the times that it is working, which is, it's a crying shame, but that's just the facts that we need to deal with. With what we need to work on right now is our discipline. Motivation is only going to get us to do certain things. It's the discipline that's going to make us do it all the time without fail, because we know that we said it to ourselves. And we owe it to ourselves. We owe it to become the best versions of ourselves by being dedicated to the truths that we tell ourselves. My truth was, I'm putting out blog content every Wednesday, and I'm putting out YouTube content every Friday. Everything that happens amongst that week is an absolute bonus in my eyes. So with that, have a plan, have a content strategy, develop and vouch for yourself and say that you're going to commit to doing this amount of content per week, and start small. I said to myself, I want to at least put content out as a blog every week for the year before I start moving into YouTube. I said that because I wanted to effectively create a bank of content that I can repurpose as video content. And I've got so much content to do, there's going to be a point where you're just going to see the same video, or not even the same video, sorry. You're going to see me doing a lot of bulk content, because I'm going to be recording a lot of content just so I can get it out, so I can get on with other things I need to do. That's another strategy that I think you should implement as well if you're looking to create content. Don't create that content so it's not necessary for you having to sit down every single week to be doing that particular thing. Give yourself time, create that content in bulk and spread it out in a way that makes sense for you. So that way you can focus on other things, as in generating leads, securing clientele, selling your products, selling your services, whatever it is that you're doing for yourself. Understand that you develop a strategy to allow yourself to be able to do all those things in a way that makes the best sense for you. Because like I always say, we're all different. What works for me may not work for you, and vice versa. So for that reason, I would say, don't worry about the metrics right about now. Focus on the commitment that you give to yourself. If you focus on the commitment you give to yourself, everything else will follow. Trust me. You are not in a position to be focusing on the metrics just yet because you do not have the quantity that will allow you to measure the data that will then allow you to use that to improve your metrics and to increase that. And even with that, I was speaking with someone recently. I won't give too much away, but they were focusing on wanting to build their client pipeline. They could only commit to a certain limited number of people per actual session that they're working with. But I advised them, I said, why don't you start pushing out that content now? And as I spoke to them, what they said, it really resonated with how I used to feel back in the day, because it's that fair element. You don't want to be looking silly. You don't want to be looking like you're doing too much. But honestly, if you're running a business or you're doing something that requires you to be putting food on your own table and you need to be able to eat and provide for your family, then Lord knows you got to do the most. I'm sorry, you got to do the most. You can't settle and do what everyone else is doing because you're going to get the same result. You need to think outside the box and do things that no one else is thinking to do or willing to do in order for you to drive yourself those particular opportunities. So with that, I did advise that he focuses on something that he can just create once a week, no pressure. It can be anything. It could be video content, it could be a blog, it could be a video journal, anything that will allow you to speak directly to your target audience and let them know who you are, who you serve, why you do the things that you do, and what motivates you and inspires you to get these things done. So with that, he told me that he never thought of that before in that type of way. And it's with that's what I always encourage, to think out the box and forget about the metrics right now. The metrics is the least of our worries. And with the number of clients he said he wanted to secure, I simply said to him that if you make content that is direct to your target audience, and then you do video per se, and you get 100 views, 200 views, those 200 views may be the best 200 views that can help you line up clients. Those 200 views could be 200 people who are not only interested in your work, but is interested in working with you. And through that, you can then have an idea of the sort of content you can make. And then over time, with the data and the metrics, you can understand that based on the content I'm putting out, this will mean that I get this amount of views. And through that content, I'm able to get a certain percentage of leads based on that. And then through that, I'm able to funnel that out into actual clients that I get to work with, or even better, have them on a waiting list for when I'm done with the other work I need to do. There's so many elements towards the importance of developing the content that's tailored to your audience. And vanity metrics is no longer going to cut it. It may look cute, it may look great, it may look fantastic, but I assure you the element of building a content strategy with your target audience in mind and focusing on your commitment to putting the content out the day and the time that you said it is a lot better than putting out content for vanity metrics. We are here to build a business and build things that are bigger than ourselves. And with doing that, we need to be tailored and targeted with our approach. So I say all this to say, if you're watching this, please like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you checking in with me once again. And I'll catch you next week, man. Peace out.